later in the rounds. Let's talk about that map rotation because we're about to get into it. We are starting with Zero Dam. Now for round 1 and round 3, there is not a Mandel brick on the map. And instead, there will be airdrops. And when an airdrop comes down, you know there's an AWM in it. So you got to keep that in mind. And super important not only to get that weapon, but also keep that weapon. You can't store the ammo in your safe box, by the way. So you got to keep it in your bag, and you better get out of the map. It is time for Zero Dam. The players are loading in, and I can't be more excited to see how this is going to go. This is the litmus test. This is the pace of play being set. I'm pumped about this, Taylor.
This is it. This is round 1, the start for the Delta Force Invitational, the opportunity to be a champion and the path to a championship starts right here, one step at a time. We've got our players on the map. And Goj, we've got a lot of activity already underway.
Yeah, a quick look, by the way, there are some designated spawns. If you get a tier 1 spawn in one map, you can't get a tier 1 spawn in the next map. Obviously, a tier 1 spawn here for Zero Dam is going to be around admin. You can see STS on your screen right now swarming into admin with who else besides FL. They're right behind them, and they're both sprinting in, trying to get a grab on some of the best loot in this map. So far, so good. Nice and simple. Watch out for those two teams in admin. Everybody else kind of looting up their positions and then moving on their merry way. Now, traditionally, Taylor, what we've seen, obviously, if you can take down Saeed, that's nice. Hopefully find some nice loot. We'll take what we can find. A little PKM with some gold ammo. Not bad. But one of the things we'll watch out for is obviously the fights in admin. The other big note about Zero Dam is the dam extraction, okay? Watch out for the dam extraction and watch how early teams will get there, Taylor. This is something we always see, is that dam extraction is everything, and the team that gets there first usually wins.
That's it. Obviously taking a look at the operators as well as the kits that are currently in play. Again, with this being game number 1, round 1, everybody starts fresh, but these operators can only be used one more time throughout the remaining potentially 5 games. Of course, we can end Group A after just 4 games and 2 Mandel bricks are gathered.
Yeah, taking a look at Q9, by the way, worth noting, they're burning both Noxes. This is pretty standard, actually. A lot of folks don't love Nox in the Operation Sweaty competitive format that is customs. Q9 says, let's get them out of the way in game 1, when technically on paper, the stakes are the lowest. So they're going to burn both their Noxes. You see a Nox on just about every other team, aside from Fallen and AKA over there in the middle of the screen, roughly. Take a look at some of the weapons, mostly standard across the board. We see a couple P90s, we see a couple AUGs, a couple different nice sizable weapons. This is pretty standard, but nothing else to really write home about. I think the big one is to pay attention to those operators, especially for round 1. These are the operators that theoretically they're kind of quote unquote burning, where you can absolutely set yourself up for success in map 1, definitely a map that has the lowest stakes.
So STS, been looking at them quite a bit. Obviously Q9, which I'm not going to have too much competition at the moment over at Substation, but we do still have to pay attention to admin, which is going to be up in the northern side. Gold Silver start to move in, so 3 teams getting relatively close. And speaking of close, STS, FL also dangerously close to each other, most likely about to go into an engagement shortly. Yeah,
as per the usual, this is the first fight in admin. The 2 teams that spawn closest to it, and it looks like Nox actually connected in some equipment, so is able to knock one down to half. Nice advantage here, at least to slow the pace of play. Obviously, they've known each other are here. It's just a matter of when to take this engagement. You really want to start off your competition with a bang. And as a reminder, every kill is 400,000 Technic Alloy to the bank. A really cool tournament UI system where it's auto-added to your character and to your stash based on the kills you get, your ID tags you extract with, and so on and so forth. So we'll see, of course, them try to prioritize some kills along the way. On the left-hand side, you're going to be able to see the teams and their colors, but also our leaderboard. If it says assets obtained, that is going to be in this match alone. So already 1 million added to the stash value for FL thus far if they can extract.
Yeah, quite healthy so far, right? Of course, AWM going to be coming up into play relatively soon, you'd have to assume anyways. That's going to be one we'll keep our eyes out for. During the scrims yesterday, Q9 was highly aggressive on the airdrops. I expect them to be just the same here as they rotate towards the south, potentially getting closer towards FN, who's going to be just up to the north. But at least as of now, everything is calm so far. I do like the fact that STS, excuse me, and FL did back away from each other. I was expecting them just to headbutt fully. There's no reason to be overly aggressive this early in the tournament.
Yeah, they found some angles here, but you're totally right. They absolutely backed off. I'm actually paying attention to AKA. You saw them zipping down from the northeastern side, rather, of the map. They should be engaging here on the backside of this admin fight. Now, of course, we do have GS. They are going to do the wall breaker mission right now, so they're deep into the back of this spawn of the zero dam extraction. So there's going to be a fight, obviously, on your screen between AKA and Fennel. That's FL. Potential. FL has decided to go into the dam extraction. Gold Silver's back there, and they could potentially take the air duct route over and actually third-party this fight.
Yeah, what's interesting, though, is one player from Gold Silver is still over in barracks,
Yeah.
right? Bobo is totally separated, and you got Crazy Dog and others who's going to be up there for Gold Silver, but potentially a 2v3 situation at worst, which might be tough.
Yeah, and here's a quick look at that wall breaker mission. We all know it. We all love it. It's one of our favorite parts of Zero Dam. Hopefully, they're able to get some sizable loot out of some of these safes, and it doesn't look like anybody's trying to contest them there, which, honestly, I think for the people at home, if you're a Gold Silver fan, this is a good thing because there's only 2 players, like Taylor mentioned down here. You can see it now. Their third is way off into the distance up by barracks, and potentially is actually going to maybe extract early from the barracks extract. We'll see what they decide to do. This is something that we do see sometimes in rounds 1 and round 3 where there's no mana bricks, is that some people will stack their loot on one player and get them out early, but it doesn't look like they have a ton of stuff likely on Bobo, who's not with them at Wallbreaker.
Yep.
That 1.7 mil has recently ticked up because of Wallbreaker.
Yep.
So the 2 players with the most value are going to be the 2 players kind of into the mix here around this dam extraction.
Looks like FN Q9 might potentially be fighting very
The airdrop,
shortly
yeah.
for the airdrop, right? So this is going to be a big fight. And you mentioned litmus test at the very beginning.
Here we go.
Talk about it, right, with Q9 setting up. And in fact, at least the trap has been sprung. FN already onto an engagement. FN actually has a down player, Q9 as well. So 2 fights taking place at the same exact time, and they're both chaos.
Yeah, we've actually got a really good position for HR's teammate. That's Flarich on top, playing the high ground. He's giving comms here to allow Momo to push up, yes, but not allow him to go too far. However, he found the angle, the back of the leg, the hamstring, getting tagged up from Mo. It's going to force Flarich down. He doesn't know exactly where that angle was and didn't want to risk trying to stay up there to stay alive. Now, we do see, again, like you said, now a 2v2 over this airdrop. The 2 players of Q9 slightly split, but because they pushed Flarich back, they're able to recombine and be able to play this trade. This is a true 2v2, both trading blows. And again, Taylor, super important, these are on paper our top 2 teams in this group, and the top 2 teams have exchanged blows and are fighting for this airdrop.
Q9 already relatively healthy when it comes to assets gained, but obviously you want to take this airdrop. Fennel, they're towards the bottom. This could be an incredibly valuable fight, especially to take down the number 2 seed right coming out of China. But Mo is alive, and that's the biggest thing for me. Mo is going to be the difference maker in this fight. K1DE is also going to be just as valuable, but you still have Mo, and Mo has been known to be quite scrappy. And with FN still losing a player down, I just don't know. I don't know how this fight's going to end up unfolding.
I will say Fallen and Q9, both of them lost their players where the opposition is holding. So neither of these players on yellow timers are going to get picked up anytime soon. You actually see K1 looting. I think that's Uzbishka who went down early. And I think Flarich is saying, we got to go aggressive here. This is one isolated. We're able to smoke up the cross, and he actually is able to get the trade. They're going to push for this. A 2v1. Where is Mo, and can he get involved? And it looks like HR's just going to stick the res.
Nice. That is a bold move, but one that's going to pay off. This could be massive, but even for Q9's side of things, they look to be going for a reset themselves. Both should be up in a 3v3.
Yeah, this is a wild turn of events, making me eat my words. I didn't
he
think
might
they were
do
going to make
this.
the push. And they were throwing the revive down. And you knew Q9 maybe were going to answer the call. We all know that once you start to revive, it is very, very loud. While this is going on, we're going to stay here. This is the only real fight happening. On the other side, there are now 4 teams playing around the dam extraction, and it looks like there is another airdrop coming in right now in the next 30 seconds that's going to be around AKA. They have the best position, and frankly, the only position on that airdrop, just as an FYI. But this is the fight we care about, and Mo is playing extremely patient as they do pick up Uzbishka. The question is, what does he have left on his body?
Yeah, Mo's in such a powerful spot. Fallen want to get out of here, but just don't know if they're going to be able to do so. You see, of course, the picture-in-picture. Nice shots. Mo almost getting the down, but can't get it.
He got it down with a triple blaster off screen and almost gets a double there. If he was able to get a double knock, I think Mo sprints at this and just 1v3's Fallen. We told you this is the guy to watch out for. And now that he's got an advantage, he's calling his teammate back into the equation. He's calling his teammate to get involved and come help me with this. We can win this fight. Now off screen, you're seeing Articuno picking up the AWM ammo. As I explained a moment ago, they picked up the other airdrop. There are 2 on this map. And this is still the fight for the first one, and it looks like FN, they were able to grab the revive, and they're able to back out of this one.
Yeah, they have to. They got to give it up. Yeah, Mo was in such a great spot. He did a wonderful job holding FN at bay, and I mean, that's just going to be pretty typical, I think, overall. But the fact that FN gets out with all 3 is still very powerful. Now they live to fight another day.
It looks like AKA picked up the AWM and have gone on the offensive. They've got 2 members of GS in their sights, and they're able to take down 1, no problem. Going to go for the trade here for the second. This should be nice and easy to clean up. As a reminder, Bobo was way over in barracks. He couldn't get over here in time. They're hunting him in the smoke. He's got an iota of health, and now he is gone. All of a sudden, AKA have a huge advantage. AWM in hand and a team wipe. Also off screen is this fight right here. STS get annihilated by Fennel camping this damn extraction. I told you there's going to be some fights over here, and it's just getting started. I can only imagine AKA is going to come in to this fight once they get their teammates ready to go and they get all the loot they need.
Yeah, one of the things we talked about with AKA specifically, before the tournament even started is the aggression of the lobby, but they have been known to be aggressive themselves. They're coming in fully confident, and that's been expressed in the fights that we've witnessed just a little bit earlier. AKA, gotta say, incredibly impressed with their performance as a whole, and I would love to see them push this fight. You mentioned a litmus test. This is exactly what it is. This is the time to hold your ground on map 1.
Yeah, we can see obviously Fallen has backed out of the fight with Q9. They swung all the way up into admin, and they're actually going to play for this damn extraction as well. So we know STS lost 2 out of 3 of their players, and those bodies are on the damn extraction. FL, Fennel, sitting on the damn extraction with, it looks like, all 3 alive and getting kitted back up. AKA on the outside of the damn extraction, and now Fallen trying to come play for the outside. They're going to engage first with AKA. The key factor here is you got to pay attention to that damn extract timer. Top left of your screen, next to the mini-map, we've got a minute 20 remaining on that. If Fallen and AKA fight early, we could see Q9 potentially third party. We could also see, of course, the team that's sitting on the point potentially play for that fight, which is going to be Fennel. They're going to play defensive, but somebody's going to come swinging in as Q9 wipes the remaining of gold, silver. GS is out of the lobby. Bobo unfortunately had no chance. He was by himself, and here's the first move. It's actually going to be from Fallen.
Okay, so Fallen starts to get a little bit active. Up top ahead, of course, is going to be STS. You got Q9 as well as AK also getting close. Hazmat, the player to watch. Great shots down range. Can't get the full finish, but goes in. They are trading blows, like you said. Hazmat is the guy to make the moves, but unrelenting is Fallen as they continue to push up, and Hazmat will fall.
Fallen is unstoppable. Can they find the last remaining player? Nobody's got to reload. If he had a little bit more ammo, he could have gotten the double. Somehow, some way, Fallen is alive with 1 player on the point. Off screen, AKA backed up from the extraction, and now they're fighting Q9, and it's an utter bloodbath on the other side. You thought we were out of the action? Not even close. Q9 on the offensive, AKA very close, but it doesn't look like UR is going to go down. And now Mo on the offensive, trying to find the last remaining player of AKA. They might have started close, they might have started fast, but they are not in well.
Mo disengages just in a nick of time. Jan's going to be up ahead. He takes a lot of damage. Mo can't engage, at least at the moment. He's a little bit too weak. This is where Guar is going to be powerful. January full prone around the corner, but you got to get your off angle. He's going to manage to do exactly that. AKA had a stellar entry round, but Q9 is looking to end it all.
Quick note, by the way, Jan is the last remaining player, of course, for AKA on your screen. It's worth mentioning, look at Fallen. They only sent 1 player out of the damn extraction. Be curious to see what that final remaining player is doing, likely stacking up loot from those boxes. There's a ton of bodies in that damn extraction, also getting the revive on their last remaining player. You can see in the top right-hand corner of your screen, Flair's decided to stay, and he's going to get the revive on HR. And now they could play as a duo, potentially either to play spoiler or just stuff those safe boxes. Even if they don't get to an extraction point, they've got a great game on their hands. Here we go, Q9 pushing the equation. Q9 going to win the gunfight. There's no questions asked. They've got the numbers, and they get the wipe. AKA started strong, but unfortunately, they get cut down, and with them goes the AWM.
That's right, and it goes into Q9's hand, which is just going to be powerful indeed, especially given the fact we've got a Mando Brick round coming up on Brockish just a little bit right in the future. Q9 just as dominant in scrims as they are today. 4.4 million assets already obtained. We're running out of time, but for FN, maybe a chance to get a little bit more loot, but if I'm them, I'm staying far away from Q9 as I can.
Yeah, I mean, it's a double-sided coin. They've got one player out, likely with a sizable amount of loot. Flair stayed to get the res on HR. They only have kind of one option right now, which is likely to either push the fight that they want to push or try to get out of the map. The problem is you are running out of daylight to get to an extraction point. I didn't really mention this before. If you haven't watched these competitions, yes, it's similar to pubs, but the timers are shorter. And Zero Dam, the shortest, only 16-minute map, and we only have a minute and a half to try to get to one of the last remaining extraction points on the map. And you can see that these two players are trying to figure out where the heck are they going to go, and can they find anything else that's worth their time.
I don't know. I mean, Q9, they dipped already. They're going to be all the way past Substation towards the south. FN, I mean, relatively, I mean, still doable, right, to catch up in just a minute and 15, but they're going to have to book it, and I don't think they're going to at least cross paths at the moment. A huge game number one coming out from Q9, but I got to say I'm impressed from a multitude of things, right? AK, for example, I think they had some great fights. Even though they finished towards the bottom, their aggression was matched with success up until they matched up against Q9, but everybody ended up falling to them outside of the last two remaining players of FN, right? Gold, silver, though, a lot of questions I have, at least personally, for them. Splitting up is a little bit interesting, right? Leaving Bobo by himself, of course, maybe to get out with a little bit of loot himself. They're going to be in fourth place, just outside the bubble of top three, which is the goal. But splitting up, I don't think that's going to be a successful strat moving forward.
Yeah, I didn't know what exactly. I think they were just trying to send two down into wall breaker and hope that potentially, if they did get pushed, they wouldn't get full alive if they get somebody out. But you're right, Bobo gets cut down as well, so they don't get anybody out. Whereas Q9, they get everything they want. They get their cake, they get the cherry on top, and they get some extra whipped cream too because, I mean, good grief. They get the wipes they want. They are able to pick up AWM, I assume, from AKA after they wipe them, and they all get out as well. Now, we do see that Flairich is going to be able to get out on the damn crest here on the far right-hand side of the map, up in the north side. He's going to get out, and I think it's HR that's going to run down to the south side of the map and see, hey, is there anybody else over here? Is there anything else I can throw in my safe box? The answer is no. A huge win on paper for Q9.
Massive.
A dominant team. We expected it. We knew they'd likely be near the top after the first game, and they absolutely proved that all the scrims, they weren't a fluke. They're here to play.
That's right, and they went through the blender too. Like, they didn't just get an easy win. They had to face opposition. One of the things about Q9, again, holding teams back, pushing teams up. They kind of did a little bit of everything. They're a mixed bag that does everything well.
Yeah, and I really was impressed with the team fight, obviously. I was actually pretty impressed with Fallen. I mean, they played it really well to be able to smoke and run and go get the revive on their teammate, have all three up. The actual mistake was trying to chow Mo in a way that didn't work at all. He had a great head peek on those boxes, and because of that, they couldn't get any damage on him. And you got to remember, Mo was running D-Wolf, so just throwing triple blasters into a small confined space. That's why FN backed out. Fallen was like, we can't fight this. There's too much equipment raining hellfire down upon us. We got to back out of here. We got to get out. And again, as scrims, the history has repeated itself. Fallen likely in second place overall, and of course Q9 on top.
But even still, like, I think it was a successful map for basically every roster. Like, I don't feel like anybody truly dropped the ball necessarily, and I think going into game two, I think that's going to be highly impactful, at least something to watch out for. But just Q9, again, so great. AK had plenty of great moments. I think overall, map two is going to be just as exciting, but the AWM is going to come into play, man. And that's going to be crazy.
Well, what's wild to think about, and again, I need to confirm if we can, we got to remember Q9 won the first airdrop. So I don't know if what they got out of that. We didn't exactly see all the loot because there was so much fighting going on. Q9 gets the first airdrop. They win it over Fallen. Then AKA gets the second airdrop where the AWM is, and then the Q9 goes and kills them as well. So essentially, on paper,
Don't say it.
they got both of the airdrops. I mean, that's what they got.
That's right.
Now, of course, there are some things that you maybe could throw in your safe box, but you can't put AWM ammo in your safe box in this competition. So that ammo's on the ground and likely in the pockets of Q9. Absolutely dominated. They got everything they wanted from that map and great kills. Now, talking about some of the other teams, you said there wasn't a team that really dropped the ball. The only one in my mind that maybe would be in the category of dropping the ball was Gold Silver.
Oh, that's
they really didn't get any kills. They had a great wall break. I mean, they did the wall breaker mission, which is
One, it was dominated by Q9, as you can see, leading by over double that of Fallen, who's going to be in second place. 5 kills to their name, but For Fallen, though, a great performance. Second place to be where they're currently at, looking healthy going into our next map, which is going to be on Brackish, of course, the Mendel break round. But for others, definitely a wake-up call. They're going to have to step it up. For Gold, Silver, they really got to get to work and figure out what's going wrong.
Well, and you can see from our damage charts here, obviously Gold, Silver, and STS, they get caught unaware. I mean, they get caught before they can shoot their gun, so that's why they don't have any numbers on the board. And you can actually see Q9, of course, the top team in terms of total damage. They took the most fights. AKA right behind. They were exchanging blows with a ton of people, and they were able to pick up several kills like we saw on the leaderboard. Absolutely going to help them, but the best team absolutely in map 1 is going to be Q9. They had 5 operators killed in total, 4.42. I mean, you all know this. Anytime you're playing operations and you wipe a bunch of teams and you also all get out of the map, huge boon for the leaderboard. This is setting them up for success to go into this next map feeling really good. And let's take a look at the MVP. Statistics don't lie. Uzbishka was in the mix, was able to pick up a couple kills, some assists, some decent damage, I suppose, and maybe a decent round, Katie. This is an interesting one.
Yes, it is. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting someone from Q9, right? But Uzbishka takes it away. A talented player in his own right, highly impactful.